Hello everyone and welcome to the Ukulele on the Ground podcast. My name is Aldrine Guerrero, joined by Mr. Aaron the Voice Nakamura. Say what's up, Aaron.
What's up?
Mr. Kahai the Legend Fergan. Say what's up, Kahai.
What's up?
And the Almighty Magic Mike Oda. What up, buddy? What up, man? Welcome back to the show. The Almighty Mike Magic Mike. Yeah, man. What's what you been up to?
Working my butt off.
Where do you work? For the people who are maybe watching you for the first time, because this, just like with any comic, any video game, any whatever, this might be someone's first episode, someone's first issue. Yeah, man. Like where do you work at?
I work at Scotty's Music on the island of Kauai.
Yeah. So, this Magic Mike here is our music theory, music history expert here on this show. So what makes you qualified to be our music expert and music theory expert on this show? Like what's your credentials?
I'm older than all of them.
Yeah, that's right. That's what it is. We respect our elders in this show. Okay? Right, Kahai?
Yeah, especially when your elder taught not only you but your sister as well too. Right? Yeah. And from not just when you were like older, high schooler, taught you when you were very young, when in elementary school. So yeah,
it's very true.
Yeah,
I taught his sister when she was 5 years old.
Oh snap! So you are a music teacher. You work at a music store. You have a music hat on. Like that makes things legit. I don't think you can pull that hat off unless you play music or bass.
No, not really.
That's the checklist, right? Music store, teacher, hat. Got it. Got all three.
Who do we know that fits those criteria?
Right on. So Magic Mike Odo is here. He's going to be answering some questions. So we are live. For all of you UU Plus members out there who are joining us live, you can free to ask Magic Mike whatever question you want. It can be usually we want these music theory type questions or music related questions or writing or whatever, instruments. Magic Mike can answer all of those questions for you, but you can ask him anything else either, right? Who's your favorite Street Fighter character, all that, you know what I mean? Like you can ask whatever they want, right?
Absolutely.
Who is your favorite Street Fighter? Because you're wearing that shirt.
Right.
Ryu?
I have to look in the right there, Ryu.
Really?
He's number one.
Very vanilla answer.
or I have two.
Okay.
I
Ken.
alternate.
No. Tahitian vanilla.
Damn.
Chocolate swirl.
Yeah.
Okay,
Vanilla bean.
No,
Vanilla
the two guys
vanilla
I
bean.
rotate between is either Ryu or Honda. I'm a huge...
Spoken like a real Japanese person.
Dude,
Ryu.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Ryu and Honda.
Ryu. Who else I picked? The even more Japanese guy. What's more Japanese than karate guys? Sumo guys.
What's Honda's first name?
Edmund.
Edmund Honda. See, you are a Honda player. Usually people are like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Edmund Honda.
I hate it when they do Ed.
Ed Honda.
No.
The car dealership?
Come on down to Ed Honda.
Right on. See, it's already kind of derailed. See, that's what happens. That's what happens
The
here
entire
when Magic Mike, the almighty, powerful Magic Mike joins us. So, let's get started, gentlemen. Kahai, do I have any questions for Mr. Magic Mike?
Yeah, we were kind of talking about this earlier. So Jim asked, doesn't Mike have a UU shirt?
Ooh.
Did he really ask that?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
So no, I don't. And I just asked them if they had any here so I could buy one from them. But apparently the UU shirts are only available from the website. So I gotta go to the website.
You gotta talk to our secretary about that. No.
But speaking of UU shirts, we're gonna
So this is the rarest Ukulele Underground merchandise that is known to man.
Because Aldrine's wearing it.
Like Mike. No, not this one in particular. But
I don't know
guess
if it's the rarest, but it
I guess
it would be the earliest.
The earliest.
Yeah.
The earliest. I guess the rarest would be the mint green one that I printed. It was only 2 of those.
Yeah.
So anyway.
So you still do have.
I have both. So I have this. This is the oldest Ukulele Underground shirt. This was printed back in 08 or 07. Aaron, did we print this before we launched? After, right?
Yeah, it must have been 08.
Yeah, so this shirt is
Early-
13 years old.
Early 08.
I have two of these, one in extra large, which I am wearing right now, and one in medium, like back then when I lost a ton of weight, and then I gained it all back, and this is back in extra large again. So
Young Aldrine was a medium.
So this shirt is actually like it's rare because people who have this shirt are the people who believed in us like from the very beginning. And I say that because we didn't even have money to print the shirt out. We did pre-orders, and the only way you could get the shirt is if you pre-ordered a shirt. And those, like those pre-orders, what we used to buy these shirts. So it's not like they were available and people bought them and stuff. It's only like people who are like, oh, okay, well, these guys look like good kids. Like, I'll throw them like
We had,
$20 or
two
whatever.
videos online.
Exactly. And it's just like, so we printed these shirts out with our original, white, red, and brown colors. So this is, and there's been many, many, many iterations of the Ukulele Underground shirt since then. But this is the earliest, one of the rarest Ukulele Underground merchandise, to date. There's a lot of people, with this shirt, but a lot of them are kind of OGs, and they're in like a closet somewhere. I know this was in my in a box like in my garage, and I just like dug up. I'm like, oh my god, it's my original UU shirt. So this is, it was a pre-order. We're like, I don't know how much we'll get and stuff, but it was surprising. We had a surprising amount of orders. So there's a lot of these shirts, but it was only available in the first few months of Ukulele Underground and never available since. So I've worn Supreme, like box logo t-shirts in the show, but none as rare as this shirt right here. And next, I actually have that, mint shirt. So maybe next week I'll wear my like ultra super duper secret rare mint green variants of this shirt, because I'm a fan of mint green, and so I bought blank mint green shirts, and I asked the guy like if he could just print it out like for. I asked Aaron. Asked Aaron, can you ask the guy to just print out like the Ukulele Underground shirt on this t-shirt though. So I bought two of them, and I'm the only one who owns both those shirts in that color, mint green Ukulele Underground t-shirt. Now maybe I'll wear it next week. I found that too in the same box.
Oh yeah.
So this year's Ukulele Underground fundraiser is going to be.
It's
So actually, the shirt that you're wearing. Is like that's how we built pretty much everything.
Because
we started off with $300.
Yeah, $100. Oh, mine was even like an actual $100. Mine was through an ukulele.
So Ryan, me, and Aldrine each contributed $100 to the formation of Ukulele Underground, the company.
Yes.
And then we spent it on like hosting, right?
Yes.
Hosting, and Aldrine spent his on an ukulele that we gave away.
Yeah, the first giveaway was a Kala, soprano Kala ukulele.
First giveaway. And then the only way that we made money was from that shirt.
Yes.
And then we just reinvested every time since then.
But printing out more shirts and stuff.
Until we could afford cameras, and then we could afford other things.
It's how it all began. There's lots of history with this, with this shirt, and I'm so stoked to find it again. Actually, Aaron found my old medium shirt, and I have that like vacuum sealed, and and I'm not ever taking. It doesn't fit, so it doesn't really make sense. And that was a shirt that I wore on tour. So like that medium shirt, our very first tour in San Diego, like San Francisco and stuff, that was the one that I was wearing. So I have that vacuum sealed and locked away somewhere, and that's like one of my most prized possessions.
I have that. I do that with some of my like all the musicals I do. I usually get a shirt from there. If I was really invested in that, I just put it in a vacuum bag.
Yeah.
The vacuum bag is getting bigger and bigger though. Keep adding shirt, like let the area and put a new shirt in, vacuum seal it back up.
Yeah, man, it's that one is special to me. That one's not coming out. I lost it once, never gonna lose it ever again now. So, but this and the mint green T-shirt, pretty much the most rarest Ukulele Underground collectible that you can get. I'm stoked. I'm very happy to be wearing the colors again, man.
So if you go to the public Ukulele Underground forum, like forum.ukuleleunderground.com. That is still in the original colors.
Oh yeah. The white, red, and brown. But now it's like green and
25th anniversary of Ukulele. He's gonna eBay
guess.
it.
When is the 25th anniversary?
Well, what are you at, like 13, 14 now?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's that?
So like 11 years from now.
I guess. Oh, 20
Yeah,
years.
wait
is
another-
pretty soon,
yeah.
right?
So you put that thing in the vacuum seal on eBay. Minimum bid $25,000.
Yeah, that's when we'll reprint the shirt. We'll reprint the shirt at our 20th anniversary. Then we'll reprint this, and people can get another chance of getting it again.
It'd be funny if we reprinted the shirt and we did like another contest where you can win $100 soprano call up.
What are some other like rare ones? I know that the red one is rare. Like there's a red one. There's like a Kelly green one that was all. No, a blue one was kind of rare.
Yeah, we did a couple contests where we asked for like designs.
Yeah.
So
There's a white one.
There's a white one with like a really nice Ukulele Underground design, and that was only printed once. We did that Teach Me Please contest.
It's people who donated to like the
I
middle
have one
school.
of those.
Yeah, I don't have one of those. Yeah.
So yeah, and that one's pretty rare.
Yeah.
There was a series that we did where I think we might still have the video on YouTube where Kyle, he was the guy that was printing our shirts. He took it was like the excess paint. You know, because he prints a lot of shirts on Kahai, and so he would just take like the excess paint from screen printing and just throw it in this bucket.
It's like this mixed paint.
Yeah, so he took like the swirled mix of just paint from other jobs, and he like threw it on the screen, and then it came out. So each
was unique.
Yeah, each one was unique.
Yeah.
So there's like a
it
swirled.
is like a white shirt. It was like
it was like a tan shirt or something like that, and it was like multicolored print.
Like on
so
the Ukulele on the Ground logo.
So that one,
sick.
those ones are like one of one, but it was a series that we printed. I forget how much, like maybe 200 or 300.
Yeah, there's some people with like really cool collections. Like I know Suki has a really cool collection of like Ukulele on the Ground. She has one of those like the multicolored swirls and
print.
stuff. I think she has one of these like OG ones. She might have a blue one, which is also rare. A red one is rare also, because those like I think like less than 10 or 20 that were printed, the red and blue ones.
Yeah. And then we had women's fit shirts too, which were not super rare, but like we definitely sold less of those. Than the general. So
also hoodies, like a bunch of the hoodies are now rare and stuff. So man, I wasn't a hoodie person back then. Like now, like I kind of all of those UU hoodies. I wish I bought one.
we did regular pullover hoodies, and then we also did zip hoodies, and the zip hoodies didn't last too long. I know that Craig
I have one of
has
those zip
one.
hoodies.
Yeah.
But I don't have like now I wear like the non-zip ones and stuff. So like that's one that I didn't get. I do have a regular zip up UU hoodie, but yeah, if you guys want some Ukulele on the Ground swag, we do have a store that sells a bunch of Ukulele on the Ground merchandise now. So you never know when we'll pull those off. So Kahai, where can they buy Ukulele on the Ground merchandise?
You can just go to the site, and then there's a link that like on the top of the site it says store, and you go to merch store, and then that's it. You can get. I don't know. Do we still have hats on there?
I think the hats might have been sold out.
Yeah. But shirts, we definitely have some shirts.
Rob bought them all, I think.
Do we have both styles of hats? Because we had like a trucker hat, and we had like that too is rare, like a trucker hat, Ukulele on the Ground, rather than the like the baseball cap looking one, or like the flat billed ones and stuff. Well, we've had some really cool merchandise in the past.
I think the last of our hats were the trucker hats, right? And the baseball caps we didn't really have anymore. Yeah. So like,
but I think I found some and I sent them to our bandwear account, and then they sold them out after that. So
that's it.
Man. So if you'd like some of these, please direct an email to ukulele.com. And vote on what you'd like to have re-added to the store.
What should we reprint? We can reprint stuff, I guess, right? It's not like we're not like those. No, it'll never be printed ever again. No, there might be. Maybe for our 15-year, that's coming up. 15-year anniversary. Maybe we'll print out these, and then we'll put like a thing in the back that says 15 years, like Ukulele on the Ground. Maybe like a special edition.
We've also done like a bunch of different colorways for the Say Aloha
Yeah, aloha to my little friend.
Yeah, the
yeah.
Say Aloha tee. We've done a bunch of different color combinations for that.
We did a Run DMC shirt, like a lot of people, like let's say ukulele instead of the Run
Yeah.
DMC.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
I wear that all the time here in the show. So that was also available
is
at one
cool.
point. Yeah, man. Anyway, Mike's here. Let's ask Mike some questions. Now,
Yeah.
let's stop talking about ourselves for a second, guys. Although I love ourselves. Yeah. Kahai, can you ask Magic Mike another question, please?
Yeah, well, Jim actually asked, or said, how about some of Mike's stories? When, I'm guessing he's trying to ask, when did you get started performing?
That's a good one. Yeah.
Oh.
Backstory.
Yeah. What's this?
Mike doesn't
Yeah.
remember. He's been
What is your
playing
origin
music.
story, Mike?
He's been playing music since an embryo.
What was it? Was your performance first music, or was it a different type of performance?
It was a different kind of performance. The first time I was ever on stage. Well, I mean, okay, so I grew up here on Kauai, so it means like every other kid, I had to do Mayday and ukulele
All right,
class.
okay.
I don't count those
Uh-huh.
because mostly you were forced to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
The first time I ever performed willingly, I was in an acting group. For those of you who grew up on Kauai, you know what this is. Anybody
K-Pac.
else but K-Pac?
Yeah. Okay. Back.
I was an intermediate K-Pac. I played a Japanese tourist.
That seems a little specific right there.
Oh, not nearly with my director. I was a Japanese tourist with a fisherman's hat, big thick glasses, a loud aloha shirt, surf shorts, and about 18 cameras hanging from my neck.
Was this a
It's not PC
redo
now,
of
Not even a little.
is that a redone of that one Aubrey Hepburn movie?
No. Oh my god.
What movie?
No, at least I'm Asian. Mickey Rooney was not Asian.
Mickey and Rudy. That's right. What movie was that?
Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Where they took a white dude and just caked up makeup on his face to make him look
racist.
like he didn't even really look Asian. He looked like a Japanese guy who got like his face got stung by a bee. It was bad. If you've never seen it, you can look up.
Bad.
I don't even remember the character's name, but look up Mickey Rooney Breakfast at Tiffany's
Yeah, that's just Hollywood, baby.
and prepare to be offended.
They could do that. They could do it then.
yeah, it's fine. It's cool.
No, it was a play about. It takes place at like an amusement park that has like a big tower, and there's a guy on there threatening to jump off, and it's a comedy about all the people who are gawking watching him. So
They could not do that today.
No.
it's a play called Help. But yeah, so I played a Japanese tourist who comes walking on, click, 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 click. Oh, look, man, up on tower.
Oh, did you do that voice too?
He wanted that voice.
Oh my god!
He
Yes.
wanted that voice.
He wanted that voice.
Authentic, coming from a Japanese person.
My
Right?
director was Asian too, so I give him.
Oh, okay.
And he was kind of a wacko, so so I completely understand that sense of humor.
Maybe for everybody who's listening who
Yeah.
doesn't know Mike, what is your last name, Mike?
Oh, it's Odo. Yeah, if you're not watching, you're only listening. I am Japanese.
And Chinese.
I'm Japanese and Chinese, and actually, as I found out when my sister did 23andMe, I am partially Korean too.
Oh, okay.
I don't know
All
where,
the
though.
Asian.
Yeah, all the
I'm all the Asian. I'm just not Thai or Vietnamese yet.
yeah. It's
It's
no,
like you
no
went-
jungling, no jungle Asian.
No.
It's all.
All city Asian.
Went from the continent to the peninsula to the islands.
Pretty much.
I'm all jungle Asian, man.
So it's still not great, but at least no, it's not Mickey Rooney.
Yeah. So that was in middle school?
That was my 8th grade year. I mean, so technically, I guess I had done band concerts before that because I joined in 7th grade.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But of course, if you're in middle school band, you're not. I mean, you're in the back of you're on the stage with like 50, 60 other people, so it's not really performing like that was performing.
Right.
Oh, so you started middle school band. What did you play?
Saxophone.
Oh, okay. So that was sort of.
That was the first time I actually
main-
decided to play an instrument and play it and actually be serious.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Because like I said, if you grew up here, you did ukulele in elementary school. That was kind of just one thing you did. I was never really serious about it. Mostly, I think because I was forced to do it. You know, it's like, oh, it's Thursday, it's ukulele time. So the teacher would come rolling like the big box of ukuleles in, and forces all to take one and play. And I was just like, I don't really want to do this.
But middle school band was like an elective, right?
It was an elective. Now, I do think that it was a very kind of shove you into one of those things, because
It's either
when any of you guys
art,
got to
right?
middle school, there were way more choices. Even though there wasn't not that many years between me and you guys, like when you got to 7th grade, which keep in mind 6th grade was still part of the elementary school at the time.
Yeah.
So 7th grade, you had an elective. You had 3 choices. You could either do band, you could be in chorus, or you could do general music, which is like the learn facts and play recorder class.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I don't want to sing, and I definitely don't play recorder. I'm taking band.
Yeah.
And then one of my Hanai older sisters played saxophone. I watched her play, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So I decided that's what I wanted to play. But that in the next year they opened up like 2 other things, but both of them didn't interest me either. So because they added like art
Yeah.
and team sports. Neither of which interest me in the slightest.
Yeah, you're not like us, sports people.
Well, no. See, the thing is, I was athletic at the time, and not now. I was athletic at the time, but they didn't have my sport, which would have been, well, it would either been
Bowling.
of the sports I could have played, it would have either been judo, boxing, or kickboxing. None of those they were going to offer you.
They were
in
not
8th
sanctioned
grade.
by DOE.
So, you were probably not going to get, a boxing class happening. So yeah, and then about 9th, 10th grade, I started taking it even more seriously. And by the next year, I was just randomly playing here and there with friends and stuff like that. I started doing musicals, and I did have a lot of fun with that in my sophomore year. And that actually pushed me pretty far, pretty fast, because, if you've ever seen a musical play, it's like 3 hours of almost nonstop music at times.
Yeah.
And so that's a very large book and a lot of music you got to learn in a very short amount of time. So that kind of pushed me to be more serious and more serious. Sophomore year is where I picked up playing percussion. That's what I did most of that. Junior year is where I picked up playing bass. And so by senior year, I was actually doing all 3, just depending on what group we were in at the time. So like marching band, I played saxophone on the field, but I played bass in the stands. Concert band, I played saxophone. And then jazz band, concert band, I went back and forth between percussion and saxophone. And then jazz band, I played saxophone. And so after that, especially I would probably say after my junior year, I decided to get really serious about my junior year. Is about the time I decided, like, okay, once I graduate, I'm going to go to school for music. I want to do this. I want to. And so by my senior year, by then I was actually playing not just with my high school, but with the next high school over, which was Kahai High School. So the director we talk about all the time, Mr. McIntosh, he figured out a way to get me enrolled at Kahai for band.
Even though you weren't attending Kahai at all.
Even though I was not attending
such a
Kahai
headhunter,
except I just showed up to play in band.
Yeah.
So the jazz band was like a learning center like K-PAC at the time. So anybody from any school could sign up, and then he used that as like a pivot with Mr. Yasumoto to get me signed up for concert band, symphonic band, and wind ensemble. So I would get every quarter done, I would get my report card from Kapaa. And then in the mail, I'd get another report card from Kauai High with just 4 band classes and A's on all of them.
Yeah.
It was great for my GPA. Thanks, man. So yeah, and then that's when I just jumped fully into it. I decided to learn more about music. My senior year is actually where I picked up my first teaching job. Down in Kapaa town. So for anybody who live here on Kauai, where behind Ona Family Restaurant, where the shoe shop is on the corner, that was actually a music school.
Oh,
It was a Yamaha branded music school.
I remember that.
You probably would have been pretty young when that was happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a Yamaha branded music. There was so they had all the little keyboards and the one big teacher keyboard, and it was like the whole Yamaha curriculum. And I got a job there as a teaching assistant. That's where I taught Kira.
Wasn't there an upstairs?
No.
No?
It was only one floor.
Oh, okay. That might have been. Yeah,
I
because
mean,
I had a separate piano teacher, but I think we were looking around before I got the
that
piano
one?
teacher. Yeah.
Yeah, I taught there as a teaching assistant for about 3 years. And then I ended up teaching a couple classes of my own and stuff like that. I enjoyed that place a lot.
How did you learn piano?
I just got the book that the kids were using.
And because you knew music.
And because I knew music, I could. And of course, I'm teaching 5-year-olds.
Yeah.
So
it's not,
like there's like all one hand, 3 fingers only.
Yeah.
So it's like it was not that hard to stay ahead of them. Now a little bit later, when we started to get slightly more advanced kids, and it became a little bit harder to keep ahead of them.
Yeah.
But the fact that I could read music really well, and I didn't know where everything was.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, well, how do you play this on the piano? Well, maybe I couldn't like just sit down and rip out the whole piece, but like if there was a section, I could figure out where the fingers were supposed to go and show them that way.
Yeah.
So
pretty much like being an ukulele teacher nowadays.
Just stay
Kind of,
slightly
yeah.
ahead of the students.
That's what I do.
and so that was it. I just since that point, I've just been playing everywhere I could, whenever I could, and I feel fortunate to have been growing up on Kauai, where I had a lot of older musicians who would kind of took me under their wing and were like, yeah, that was good, keep doing that, or no, that sucked, don't do that.
All right, Kahai, next question.
So maybe we'll go to this one. So we got it sent in. Somebody sent in their song for the song challenge, and along with the song, their song for the song challenge, they asked, or they said, our chord progression. Oh, this is from Chris and Sue. Sorry. They said our chord progression is F minor, D flat major 7, E flat. We found we could also solo using both an F minor scale and a flat major scale. So is this really an F minor, or is it in the relative A flat major? Aren't these in the same chord family? What's the difference, and does it matter?
So for those people who are wondering, it sounds like this: F minor. Here's the D flat major 7, and here's the E flat. So this D flat major 7, it's actually more of a B flat minor with an added 9 in there. So it's, instead of a D flat major 7, it's actually B flat minor add 9.
Yeah,
So because it would be
in
like
that context.
Yeah, in this context, because
Yeah.
it would be like F minor to the B flat minor, which makes sense, right?
Right.
And then to the E flat, which
And
is
then
going
back
to the
to
5.
the F sharp minor, right? Can you play that progression just so that people know? Yeah.
So, your take.
So
No, not my question. I'm just trying to explain, just setting up the stage for you. Okay, now go.
So the question
Sing.
is, dance. So the question you really asked was, is this really an F minor or is this an A flat major? So the way to think about it is, you said the scale you were using to solo over was both of those scales. Well, you're correct, because they are basically the same scale. They're just starting in different places. So from that, it would be harder to just, if I didn't hear you do it and you just sent me that information, I would have a very hard time telling you, oh, it's this or that. Because the thing with relative majors and minors is that because the scale is the same for both, you can't just look on paper and say, oh, that's it. Now, we did get a chance to listen to your song though. So it's definitely a minor. It's definitely an F minor. If you ever have trouble figuring out which one you're doing, stop thinking about the theory part for a second and just listen to your song. If you listen to your song, the combinations of notes used for the melody, they definitely came out in a minor format, not a major format. So short answer is yes, it's F minor. I would definitely qualify that as F minor. With different voicings of the chords, it actually doesn't even matter, because whether you consider that second chord a B flat 9, minor 9, or a D flat, again, it's the same thing. You're using a lot of those same notes. What is the context in which you're using it, and what kind of melody are you playing over it? Many times, if you just listen to a chord progression, sometimes it might actually be kind of hard to figure that out. You know, because if you want to think relative major and minor, you could think of anything in both keys. So instead of say F minor, you could think, oh, what's the first chord's an A flat major? You know what I mean? But what you would notice most likely is that your melody does not match as well, or sounds significantly different if you try to think of it as an A flat major playing your melody. And because of that, no, it's definitely F minor. You guys did it right.
I think it's also important, like, it's your song.
Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely.
That is also
Whatever
true.
you
Yeah.
want to call it.
You're the authority on it, right?
But really, like, you're starting all of your phrases on the F minor, and
Yes.
you're ending all your phrases on
Yeah.
the F minor. So that's pretty much the
The
like what
one,
you
yeah.
said, like the chord center, right?
Yeah.
You're definitely using that as like the key center of the whole thing. So
Yeah.
just think about it like that.
Yeah, because like if you were to play a D flat major 7, like if we're doing it in a different voicing, like that's more of a D flat major 7, because you have like the D flat in there and the that major 7 along with it. So it'd be the although it's okay. I mean it sounds more like that's a lot more acceptable, than that D flat major 7. That's why I went with the B flat minor at 9 rather than the sounds closer.
And that's the thing too that might be a difficult thing with the theory part, is that if you start writing the notes down, just writing the notes down, like if you just wrote these things down on paper, it's harder to it is harder to narrow in on actually what you're doing.
Yeah.
So context is really important. I mean, listen to the whole structure of what you're doing. That'll actually give you many more answers than writing it down on paper and like analyzing it from like a theoretical position is going to give you. So
Yeah.
good job, guys. I heard the
It
song.
sounded
It was
good.
really
Yeah,
cool.
it sounded good. I thought like, because usually they have, I always kind of tell them about their rhythm when they're kind of playing together and stuff, Chris and Sue. But in this case, like there was that backup, like rhythm that's kind of going on.
Yeah, they
And
found
he just
out-
burped in my face.
I was trying to do it behind your head.
Anyway. So yeah, they usually have this kind of rhythm thing like going on, but since the background kind of rhythm that they had, it was a lot easier for, I'm guessing, for them to follow that kind of background background rhythm or rhythm section in this case, instead of just like a click or whatever. And I thought it sounded great, and like that's the potential that you guys could sound like with with that proper groove and rhythm. Yeah, it's good. Good.
Yeah. Something that is useful is, I mean, obviously I do kind of tell people working with metronomes is really important.
Yeah.
To help to build up your, but honestly, if you have a drum machine program or something like that, that'll do the same thing for you.
Yeah.
If like I was taught with a metronome because that's more what was available at the time. But for you guys with all these other, resources available, if you just decide to like get a basic drum machine, or like it's built into your keyboard, or even there's a bunch of like online ones you can probably download to your computer that are just free. Play around with those. It's not like just because you're adding in like rhythm and beats instead of just a click, it doesn't mean it's going to go off time. It's still going to be that same metronomic time.
Yeah.
And maybe it's easier for you to feel a beat. Like, true, just this. I mean, if you're taught to go with that, yeah, you can go with that. But man, sometimes it's a whole lot easier to just have like a whole beat going on behind you.
We actually talked about this last week, I think, right? Where we gave the advice to somebody to record using a drum beat instead of the metronome to really get the groove, and like, because I feel like when you can make a groove using a metronome, but it's if you have somebody who's actually playing the drums and they're not playing exactly, but they're kind of playing with a swing, you get that momentum that you don't get with just a straight metronome.
Yeah. So, Mike, since we have you here, a few weeks ago, or 2-3 weeks ago or something, we had Craig and Sarah on our show. Sarah, jazz ukulele master, Sarah Mizell, okay? we asked her a question of how do you comp jazz for ukulele. I want to ask you the same question, since you just said your whole backstory, first instrument you played, ukulele. So you've played ukulele longer.
Definitely qualified to answer this
longer than jazz master Sarah Mizell. So
I feel like you're trying to set it up so that if we ever meet, we're going to fight.
So how do you comp jazz
Causing backstage heat.
for ukulele? Legit X-Pac heat.
Oh, gosh. So... So I did watch the episode, and I would kind of echo a lot of what she said. In a basic jazz format, it's 4 on the floor, you know, and that actually comes again from the guy she mentioned, Freddie Green. So Freddie Green was a big band jazz guitarist with, I believe it was the Count Basie Orchestra. That's where he got kind of famous, and he was kind of famous for just going chunk 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 chunk, chunk just 4 on the floor. Now, part of the reason was at the time, the drums for those big bands actually wasn't based around the swinging ride cymbal as we tend to think about it. The further back you go, the more it was the bass drum. And they would just go, just pounding 4 on the floor. So the guitarist was actually just trying to latch on to that. Now, while that did pretty much kind of go out to influence everything else with jazz guitar as we got into later, when it did get into like smaller groups like quartets through the bebop era and stuff like that, you did start to get a little bit more syncopation on it. You know, a part of it would be, if you think about it, when you're dealing with a band of like 20 dudes, if you start to play like some sort of syncopated strum, you're really just contributing to like an overall kind of sonic clutter. So when guys like Freddie Green would just play 4 on the floor, which match up with the 4 on the floor of the bass drum, that gave a very clear, which is also, if you think about it too, bass players at the same thing playing 4 on the floor. So it's basically this really powerful quarter note beat that was emanating from the rhythm section. And because in a big band, you have so many moving parts. Like the saxophones are doing one thing, the trombones are doing something, the trumpets are doing something else. If you have the rhythm section doing something overtly complex for music like that, you're just gonna make it sound like you're not together, really.
You're stepping in each other's toes
all the time,
basically.
You know, now after the big band era in the 40s, when the bebop era came, and you got down to situations where it was like 5 guys, 4 guys, 5 guys, something like that. The bass player and if you were replacing, say, the piano player with a guitar player, it became a little different. There was more sonic space to be had. Also, at the speed bebop players went at, which so we just talked about metronome. Your average jazz band piece was probably somewhere between 120, 140 beats a minute. Your average speed on a bebop tune was about closer to 300 beats a minute. So, music jazz lesson for you. Kenny Clark. He was pretty much like the first jazz drummer who moved the playing of the beat away from the bass drum to the ride cymbal. Because you think at 300 beats a minute, which is about this, if you can imagine trying to stomp your foot that fast for the bass drum
without a double bass
which didn't exist at the time. Although there were guys who sort of got around that. Louis Bellson was the first one in the 40s, and
that's what I was gonna say, Louis Bellson.
Because he showed up with 2 bass drums. He was the first jazz drummer to do 2 bass drums, and so he could do all the type stuff. But he had to bring 2 bass drums for it. He wasn't like nowadays where you have like a pedal that can do both. But for the most part, most guys did not bring 2 bass drums. Especially Louis Bellson was primarily like a big band drummer too. So 2 big 22-inch bass drums pounding away really helped propel a band. Whereas, you're playing with 4 guys. You bring a setup like that, they're gonna look at you like, oh, so this is gonna be just a drum solo tonight.
It's a drum show.
So Kenny was not able to play bass drum like that, so he moved that to the swing beat that we all know so well on the right. So and because of that actually changed the tenor, the whole tone of everything, because then the bass player was really the one going boom, 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 room. They're actually still playing the 4 on the floor with this swinging rhythm over the top, which actually gave the guitarist a lot more room. So you start to hear a lot more like syncopated upstrokes and stuff from the guitarist in that era, because there was more room to fill that could, but they would fill more room, but it still wasn't at the point where like it was like too much stuff. So the guys on the top were like, "Oh, I have no place to play because you guys are filling all the space." So so that would be the same thing. It also depends on what kind of genre of jazz you're playing in. Now, I think one of the reasons Sarah would think more in that realm is that listening to them, they like playing in that like swing era type music. Most of everything I've ever heard is swing era type music, where that's still more of a Freddie Green influence. And I'm sure his name has come up. I'm going to be the first one for this week. But if you listen to Abe play, I know he's the new one. But if you listen to Abe play when he's playing like some of that faster hardcore bebop style, and he's strumming along. He's not going tung 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 tung. He's like using syncopated strums and stuff, because that's more of the style he's playing in. So anything prior to the 40s, the Freddie Green 4 on the floor is a great ideal. Anything after that, at least through probably the 60s, which is more bebop, hard bop, and the beginnings of free jazz, things are probably going to get much busier, more complicated, more syncopated in that strum. It's not going to be 4 on the floor. It's going to be like an actual. We don't use these here anymore, but strumming pattern. Like the strumming pattern is definitely going to be more or like syncopated.
Or rhythm.
It's definitely going to be more of that than straight 4 on the floor. Okay, there's my answer.
Nice. Do you think most modern music follows that format where there's like a hierarchy of like, you know, your rhythm on the bottom and then something above that and then something above that, where it can get more complicated the higher that you go, but you still need that like bottom, that bass to lay the foundation?
There's definitely exceptions to this. Obviously, if you listen to like 1970s fusion, Chick Corea stuff, every level is like super complicated. But then I tend to look at that, or Tower of Power. I tend to look at that as more like very finely matched clockwork pieces. So if you listen to like old Return to Forever, Chick Corea Electric Band from the 80s, Herbie Hancock's Headhunters, they're playing very complicated from the bottom up, but
each person is like
each thing is fitting in like that clockwork cogs. And so it makes more sense at that point. Tower of Power, the horn band, the drummer is actually playing super syncopated stuff. The bass player is playing a lot of notes, but it's like kind of straight 16s when he's going, and that's providing almost like that bass that the drum is actually playing around with. You know, when you talk about modern pop music, it kind of goes back more to what I was talking about. I mean, if you think about like listen to anything top 40 nowadays, the drum beat is almost invariably crazy simple. And the bass usually latches onto the bass drum part of it with maybe a fill or two here, but the core of the rhythm is like whatever the bass drum is doing, the bass player is probably playing something with that. If they're not, then what they're actually doing is like filling in the spots that the other one isn't. You know, so it's one of those two things. Either they're playing really in sync or they're filling each other's gaps musically.
So I want to ask, like, as a bass player, do you have a preference of that style of playing? Like when you're comping for somebody else and you're playing, you know, it's like you're playing bass and somebody else is playing drums. Are you trying to follow the drums or are you trying to fill in the space?
So the answer to that would definitely be, first my qualifier would definitely be, depends on what kind of song I'm playing. If I'm playing in like a fusion, like a jazz fusion format, no, I'm definitely going to kind of do the more complicated thing because that's appropriate. One thing that I think that young musicians have a real problem with, especially, we talked about this a long time ago. Young musicians, especially the ones who have great technical ability, the problem is their sense of musical maturity and appropriateness is
Yeah.
Really, really low sometimes.
Have a conversation you after the show.
And we've all known some young kids like that, where like you like 12, 13, 14, and maybe they can actually play. They're not. They're not Steve Vai yet or anything like that, but they can play.
Yeah.
But the problem is they're so young that they're the type of kid who's gonna like noodle guitar over the top of everything.
Not gauge the room.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's like they hear space and they're like, oh,
I
this
must
space,
fill.
this space is for me. Oh, he's so kind. Everybody made space.
Look, no
for
one's
me.
playing here.
Yeah.
If nobody's gonna take it, I'm gonna take it.
Since we always make these wrestling analogies, it's almost like 1980s Hulk Hogan. If there's a space to pose, he will pose.
What? Yokozuna just won the title? You should just go run in there and grab it.
I better save Bret Hart. It's the big showdown in Montreal. So, so if with all the music theory and everything I'm ever saying here, if young ukulele players hear only one thing I ever say, work on your musical maturity and realize that you do not have to play in every space there is.
Yeah, amen.
The combination of all of you together is what's going to make awesome music. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're doing a solo show,
then it's about you.
You should play everything. Yeah,
you should play all the spaces because otherwise there'll be dead air. But if you're even playing in a duo, and I did a lot of work, and these two guys work in a duo. They work well together because they complement what each other does. They don't like Aaron does not step on Aldrine. Aldrine does not step on Aaron. And that's I see the smile starting. Nobody's perfect. Okay?
No. I don't usually play anything that Aldrine can step on.
But see, here's the thing, and this is one of the reasons. And if you ever come to Kahai, you gotta watch him play because I'm gonna put Aaron over. This guy's a really, really good rhythm guitarist.
Yeah.
And
Good answer.
And that's because he knows
He does.
where to go and when to do it.
Like Into the Mystic, there's so many places I can step on Aaron's toes. Or like
If I'm singing.
But that's kind of the thing. If there was a different guitarist, sometimes they get that they get all itchy, like I don't want to just strum the song every time. And then they got to start throwing stuff in, but it's like not appropriate at that moment.
Yeah, there's some times where I'm playing with, say, like Kaniho and stuff. Kaniho's a great, bass player. He's a great guitar player as well. But then when I'm playing guitar with him, and he likes a lot of like the the old school kind of jazzy sounding chords and stuff. But it's more like my job to do those chords because it's like extensions on top of whatever you're building down. So I usually kind of tell him like and it's hard because it's like, dude, that sounds awesome what you're doing and stuff, but together it doesn't really it doesn't
that would
really
be
match.
And that's something that the theory does help in the ability to hear. Because it's one thing if one guy's playing like a C chord and another guy's playing like a C major 7 chord. There's that little cherry on the top thing. But if but if two guys are playing a C major 7 chord and they voice it differently, there's every chance that some notes are gonna just collide into each other.
It's tough, and it's because like how do you tell someone that without hurting like their ego even, I mean, me and Kenny are good friends. I can tell him stuff like that. But if I'm playing with somebody that I don't know that well, you know what I mean? Like, so it's kind of tough. Like, dude, that sounds awesome, but like maybe like let me do some of that stuff instead.
Just do the simple chord.
Yeah, like can you like play simpler?
Because you don't want to feel like you don't want to feel like a jerk either. That'd be like, I don't know, being on stage with like John Cruz and telling him how to play Island Style.
You went there. That wasn't me, by the way. It wasn't me. We've seen someone do that. I don't know how they can walk from there.
But we were on stage doing that, and the instant this musician started talking, we both stared at each other like one of those like
what? Did you see that? Like. Like, John, what if we play your song like this instead?
Because when I play your song, we do this. And John's like, Okay.
Well,
And we look at each other like,
like,
do you know?
and it was nice how John Cruz handled it. He's like, or we could just, like play it like
The way I wrote it?
The way that I wrote it.
Or however
Or
he
we
wants
could just
to
play
it.
my song the way I wrote the song. You know? What do you think about that? Is that possible?
Next time I jam with was that guy from Ambrosia?
Dave Pack.
Yeah, David Pack. I'm like, David. Just,
I got this.
Like, can I show you how to play?
I know you've been playing the song. I know you wrote this and you've been playing the song for 40 years. But let me show you what.
Yeah.
Let me show you the real.
This
the real
is the
one.
reason why Ambrosia is not around anymore. It's because we don't play. We don't
Actually,
play
funny,
like this.
they are
We
still
show
around.
you. Yeah.
They are still around. Just not with him.
David Pack is awesome, man. I
Dave
love
Pack is
jamming
amazing.
with that dude.
Yeah. Ambrose is still around. I think the original bass player is still in that band, and he's the only one still in.
Who's gonna replace that voice? Who replaced that? Not who's gonna. Who replaced that voice?
The guy they got sounds
like Dave Pack.
No. but he can hit the notes.
Oh, yeah, but there's a difference. There's a difference in hitting notes. I can hit notes, but it's not going to sound like Bruno Mars.
Well, I mean, no, the guy sounds good. It's just it's not David.
Right.
Right. I mean, it's the same thing when
And don't you dare bring up Arnel Pineda because I will fight you.
That's exactly. No, but
I know Steve Perry's awesome.
They're both amazing.
Yeah.
But obviously, if you listen to like a live show with Steve Perry and a live show with Arnel, it's not the same guy.
No.
But it doesn't mean that one's better than the other one. They're both amazing.
Okay.
You
kind of saved yourself a little bit. I was seeing red. Backstage heat.
No. You'll never hear me say Arnel Pineda is not an amazing singer. There are definitely times when there are guys who replace people in bands. They're doing it because they can do what the other person does. But then it doesn't come across as like, oh, you're just imitating the other guy.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's what. That's probably the criticism you heard about him, and that to me that's a little unfair.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then there's guys. It's real good.
It's good.
But then there's those guys who replace somebody in a band, and they can kind of do it, but they do it in their own way, and it makes sense. And the best example of that I would probably give is Bon Scott to, what was his replacement's name? So AC/DC, the lead singer Bon Scott, when he passed in 1980, and Brian Johnson, who replaced him. They both have kind of that definitely metally, high screaming voice, but very different.
Yeah.
They're very different. You cannot mistake a Bon Scott song
For a Brian Johnson
song. But nobody would say either of them is
bad.
Yeah. They're just different.
Yeah. Tell that to Rome, who was that guy from Sublime.
Oh,
because Rome does his own thing. He sounds good with what he does,
Sublime
but man, he
Rome.
just gets skewered by the fans who really wanted the original singer.
Well, he's not available, so it's too bad.
Back from the dead.
This
is what we got.
Yeah, because I kind of like Sublime and Rome. You know what I mean?
Here's the one thing I would say to fans of that: Would you prefer that band not work and make new music then? Because if you get your way and that guy leaves Sublime, then that's pretty much what's going to happen. So you have to decide: do you love the band enough that you would love to hear new music in a different form? Or are you just so stuck on the first album that that's all you ever want to hear?
No one's taking away 40 Ounces of Freedom. You still have that. You can listen to that if you want to.
I mean, that's an example of when I think it goes when it's kind of unfair. It's kind of like, well, no, he's not that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And more importantly, that's a good example of he's not trying to be that guy either.
Yeah.
I mean, even Brian Johnson, who sounds a lot like Bon Scott at times, he's not trying to be him. I think anytime someone joins a band that lost a member and they try to be the guy that left, that's absolutely a formula for failure. I can't think of any time I've ever seen that happen, and it actually turned out well.
Yeah, you'll never be Ryan Saki, Aaron.
No matter how many people call you Ryan.
How many people call you Ryan? Okay, hate to cut this off, but we have to do our songs because I promised last week we're gonna do our songs. No excuses. It's 5 minutes, 6 minutes before the top of the hour. We're gonna go overtime so we can do these songs.
Hit it.
Kahai, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to go first, or
I'll go first. Mine is super short. I wrote one verse and chorus, and in the 5 weeks that we've had this challenge, never wrote another one since. So
Sometimes short is good.
here we go. I need my lyrics for the one verse that I did. It's about like what was the guidelines, Kahai? Major, minor?
Yeah, right. Or like the first guideline or the needed guideline was write about food.
Yeah.
And then the bonuses were write a happy minor song or a sad major song. So
Yeah, I did both. I did all three of those things. So like in my song, there's a happy minor, and there's a sad major. I also wrote about food because that's all I ever write about in the show. So it was like this. Mochi, ube mochi, ube mochi, ube mochi. This flavor's taking me back to a time when we were hacking the sack. Yummy sweet potatoes growing out of the ground. Forget that Sunny D, this purple stuff is the bomb. But it's sold out. But it's sold out. Everywhere I go, more people seem to know about ube mochi. Ube mochi. Ube mochi. Ube mochi. So, so the riff has a major minor in there because it starts on minor to the major, and then major. Oh, sorry, the E minor to the C, and goes to F, to the D minor, E7, just to get back to the minor chord. So it's like major minor, major minor, major minor, and then it goes talks about the food in minor. And then let's talk about like happy times where it's like, man, I remember this is good stuff. I love ube mochi. And then it's like, it's sold out because I can't find it anywhere in Kauai. People found out about it. And then that's where I made the major changes in there. That's my song. I wish I wrote a second verse, and I wish I had an excuse saying like I didn't have time or whatever. I had all the time in the world. I just filled it with other things. But yeah, that's my song. That's it. Yeah. Hey, thank you.
Very cool.
Is it this one? That's
Yep.
one.
Okay.
yeah, Aaron's gonna play my song
Okay.
on the computer.
Let's turn that on. Oh,
Yep, that means it's connected.
okay. And it's this one,
Oh, I
right?
thought you would have like conga music in yours.
Hello, dear imposter. This is your syndrome speaking. Let me read you this roster of your self-critiquing, anxieties and fears, embarrassment and guilt, self-directed jeers of everything you built. You want to take a break, enjoy the weekend. What about that mistake? Don't try to pretend, or replay it in your brain so you can't go to sleep. Hey, fold a crane and let your apprehension steep. Afraid to wake up to unread messages, expectations pile up, severe talent deficit? Time is not your friend, there's always work to be done. You're just a dead end trying to outrun. Even this song, you're not a writer or lyricist. Playing a con, you don't have enough experiences. Want to gain some sympathy, can't practice what you preach? So afraid of the hypocrisy, this is your ego's leech. Where's your qualifications, competence? There's none to be seen, only a mediocre consequence, a fraud smokescreen. I'll tell them where to find it, your gum wrapper collection, your origami connection, send sincerely your reflection. Yeah.
Ah,
Very nice.
that's why they
Dr.
call him
Fergan.
legend.
Deep stuff right
Deep.
there.
That's why they call him the
Dr.
legend Fergan. Yeah.
So it's like like a F major. That was also another part of the challenge, was write in F major. So I found like a chord piano kind of pattern in F major, and then it's not really sad, but it's just like kind of a serious
Melancholic.
topic, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's supposed to be. I got this idea. I was telling Aaron I had really kind of bad anxiety one night and I couldn't sleep. So I woke up and I just started writing. And I kind of got this idea of like, what if my imposter syndrome wrote a letter to me? So that's why the song starts off, "Hello, dear imposter, this is your syndrome speaking." So like that's like my thoughts that run in my head when I'm like kind of like, I don't know if this is really good, and I'm not really sure of what I'm doing,
Man.
those kinds of things. So
Not afraid to put it down on paper. I love it. Kahai. That was amazing.
The song is called Origami, and I mentioned like in their like Folder Crane and gum wrapper collection, and that's because like I have these Japanese gum that you eat, and you take the wrapper and you kind of like cut it, and then you can make origami out of it.
Oh,
And I've
cool.
been making paper cranes out of that paper, so yeah, just tie into the food challenge too.
Damn.
Deep. Hey, where's yours, Mike? Did you not bring your homework today?
Y'all didn't tell me there was one. So.
Oh, that's what all students say when homework is due. I didn't know there was homework.
Oh, no way.
No, my dog ate it.
Hey, I already used that excuse.
My cat ate it.
Yeah. I didn't have a food connection. I didn't even realize that. I forgot about it. I was really hung up on this
Major.
major, like happy. Like I wanted to write a happy minor song, and then I ended up doing both. So it's like part of it is like happy minor, and then it goes to a sad major. And then so I don't know, and it's higher than I can sing, so just imagine it being in tune.
I'm sure it's gonna be fine. I'm sure it's gonna be BA.
So yeah,
Mike.
try to see.
Got out of bed, felt like I slept full night instead of the few hours I had. Gotta admit that I feel like I'm catching the green lights, and I don't need to humble brag, because I don't need a reason to feel this proud today. Yeah, I don't need a reason to sing out loud, but I've gotta say that everything is going my way. Yeah. Summer has come, feels like the sun's illuminating the best in everyone. I wonder if it's just me, but I feel like you see what I mean. It's a continuum, because you don't need a reason to feel this proud today. Yeah, you don't need a reason to sing out loud, but you gotta say that everything is going my way. When you reflect upon the sad times, stress out on the bad fights, then replay all the cold hard nights that made you question all your big dreams, belittling your life's meaning. only way out of it is if you don't need a reason to feel this pride today. Yeah. You don't need a reason to sing out loud, but you gotta say everything is going my way. Yeah. Going my way. Yeah. Everything is going my way. Everything is going my way. Yeah.
Very cool.
Nice, very cool, very, very cool. We're just talking about New Kids on the Block. Kind of sounds something like that.
So yeah.
So if you'd like to vote for a Songwriting Challenge album to come out from these three guys, please write into Ukulele Underground. I'm so serious. Every time we do one of these and I'm here for these, I hear you guys tell us, I'm thinking you all could make an incredible, just like a 15 songs, like 5 of yours, 5 of yours, 5 of yours, and just go nuts on like all the different, because it's cool, because all 5 of the songs you guys would do would be...
I'll do 3 of mine and 7 of Aaron's. And give it 2 more. 2 more of Aaron's.
And then Kahai has his own album. Yeah.
If you'd also like to hear an album of Kahai's originals
Just
only,
Kahai.
please write into Ukulele
Yeah,
Underground.
we could just burn that CD right now.
Dude.
Well, I think that's like the thing too. Even like in my song, I wrote it, right, and I just like I write the song and I listen back to it and I'm like, I don't like how this sounds, and like, I can't even believe when people say like, you know, even Kira, she's like, oh, I really liked your song from the last challenge, and I kind of feel like you're just saying that because you're my sister.
You have to say that.
Okay, so let's get this. Guy, we've been friends for a long time. However, you also know that I am definitely not a person to sugarcoat. Your songs are really good.
Yeah.
I tasted a little sugar in that.
No, Kahai knows you well enough to know that if I thought it sucked, I'd probably say it sucked. Maybe I'd be nice to just say, Kahai, that wasn't your best work.
It was, yeah. You did that.
You did. Yeah.
Nah, dude, that was awesome, man. As soon as I heard your voice, I was like, oh snap, here we go. And it just got deeper and deeper. I'm like, this is...
That was one thing I was actually shocked
stuff.
because this might be the first thing I've ever heard you do on a challenge that wasn't straight instrumental.
Yeah. He's done one before.
Yeah, this is the second one.
Yeah.
I can't sing or do anything, and even like when I told Aaron, like I was like, yeah, I wrote lyrics, but I was like, but it's not really lyrics because I'm not like really rapping.
It's
or
like
anything.
slam poetry.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he's...
It's just I'm just saying stuff over a song, so yeah.
Welcome to rap.
Yeah.
Welcome to beatnik jazz, man.
Yeah, I would have, because like, didn't you go to the first Thursdays on Oahu too?
Yeah.
It was like slam poetry
Slam
on
poetry.
Oahu, and like, yeah, I could totally standing O on that one.
I think like with that's the thing. I don't know about you guys, but like whenever we do these songwriting challenges, my favorite part is hearing your guys' challenge and not really like, oh, my challenge.
Yeah, but that's how it is for all of us.
I'm like, I'll just write whatever. I'm here to listen to Aaron and Kai.
I already heard my song. Like, I want to hear everybody else's.
I think that's why it'd be hard for us to like be like, yeah, we can put out an album of our songs, right? We're like, I don't know.
As the semi-objective observer here, no. I can definitely tell you I've heard at least, like I said, a 15-song thing. I've definitely heard at least 5 songs you've written it's more than that, really. That you could make an awesome, like, downloadable album just as like the Ukulele Underground Songwriting Challenge. See, if you don't eventually record Thwip Thwip Swing,
Swing, that's taking it way back.
if you don't at least record that eventually and put that out, I'm gonna be really, really upset.
Alan Fasick was still a member of Ukulele Underground Plus when that song came out. It was funny because when we saw him in Denver, he played Thwip Thwip Swing for me. I was like, what? It was amazing.
Yeah. And there's even a member who actually does go back through each podcast and cuts out each of our songs, and they have like a Google Drive with our songs in it.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'll also admit that when I need to look for one of our songs to put in the link,
You reference the Google Drive.
I do. I use that. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna look
awesome.
into this. Oh, this is the one with the
awesome.
fried chicken or whatever.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, okay, so let's tend to some business a little bit. I know we're a little bit over time.
Okay.
But in about 20 minutes, we will have the Ukulele Underground open mic. Are you sticking around, Mike?
I can't today.
Okay. No, it's cool. It's cool. I get it.
I've actually got to run to the school. It's our first day. I got to see
band.
the first day with band kids.
Oh, wow. Have fun, man. You're like doing stuff and like
Well,
helping
we'll see.
people and
It's,
whatnot.
it's an interesting year.
Yeah, I
The first post crazy year band is
Give them an example. Be like, if you take my band class, look what you can become in 10 years. You can have your own podcast.
So here, this is our composition. We have 37 kids. I have one kid who's in his third year,
Yeah.
no fourth years, one second year, and all the rest are first years.
What?
This year is going to be interesting.
Oh,
Good
man.
So,
luck.
for those of you who have no
Bring
idea
a
what that
bottle of
means,
Tylenol.
a gallon. That means I have 34 kids who've never touched an instrument before, and homecoming is at the end of September.
Everyone play drums. Play percussion.
Honestly, I'm not opposed to that. I told Catherine, maybe this is the percussion band year.
Yeah. Well, that's how it was when I was in high school. The percussion band.
I mean, because it's like, here, take this cowbell and go stand in that corner.
See, you have to pull a Macintosh. Macintosh would have done it.
Of course he would have, and
Yeah.
we'll pull this off too. I'm just not sure how or what it's going to sound like when it actually comes down to it.
Yeah. So anyway, at 2:30 we're gonna start our Ukulele on the Ground open mic. We do this every first Thursday of the month. So if you have a song or two to share, you can definitely join us on Ukulele Underground open mic. I'm gonna post a little posting on our Instagram before we start, also just to remind those people. Let's see, Kahai. Kai's gonna be Kai, you're gonna be gone a couple weeks, right? But we're still gonna have our our podcast. So the podcast, but Aloha Friday is not gonna be.
It's not next week. I'm gonna still be here next week.
Yeah.
But the following week, we're gonna have we'll probably have like a replay of the podcast or like a pre-recorded podcast.
Yeah.
And we won't have the jam.
Yeah,
and then
Aloha Friday jam.
it's just 1 week though. We'll be back to our regularly scheduled.
They're just going to play the Google Drive.
Yeah. So Aloha Friday on the
Song
20th.
retrospective.
That's the one.
Yeah, that
okay.
we won't have.
So just letting people know, like to plan ahead. We're not gonna have it. We're not gonna have a Aloha Friday live jam. But fret not. You can just watch any of the replays and pretend like it's live. It's the same thing, I guess.
Until last week, and watch Aldrine play clarinet again.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I was very happy with that.
So let's see what else. Yeah, that's basically it. We have a brand new lesson. We have The Way by Fastball. Did you watch it?
I did.
Yeah, The Way by Fastball. Make sure you check that out. It's Game Boy Color.
Has a guest star.
Yeah, Kirby.
I didn't even think about it, but also our solo kind of has a tie into the Game Boy as well, right?
Yeah. Did that come out already?
No, it's gonna come out next week.
Okay.
So, but you can say what it is.
I almost let it spill.
Just
for a
go.
second.
Super
it's,
preview.
It's Pallet Town from Pokemon. I did a nice little campanella arrangement of it. So for those of you folks who have been interested in campanella, this is the one to watch. This is the arrangement to check out, because it's pretty much like pure campanella up until it gets to the right when it gets to the C and D part and stuff. But even then, I kind of put some campanella parts in there. But for the most part, it's mostly campanella. So if you're interested in that style,
if you want a challenge, this is a good one to
it was a challenge for Kahai to put together. So how was it hard?
No, but
It's not bad, right?
I've to do the notes. I kind of have to follow along too, and I even following along, I'm like, oh, this is kind of a toughie. So, yeah, good luck on that one. Yeah,
it's nice, man. It's gonna be a good one. So make sure you check that out when it comes out. That's gonna be next week.
on the 15th.
Yeah, on the 15th. So It's coming out soon. Palette sound from the original Red and Blue Pokemon games. So I've been really obsessed with Game Boys lately, and that's been stuck in my head. So I figured, Kahai, let's do this because it's fun. Because it's fun. So check that out. We'll see you folks in just a little bit for the open mic. Have a great one. Thank you so much to our special guest, Mike.
Anytime, guys. Nice to see all of you.
The Enigma, the Phenom,
Is that
the Magic Mike Odo.
Oh, okay.
Have a great one, everyone. Aloha. Right on,
I'm so
man.
sorry.